colours using tonal rendering skills. Okay, first up we are going to just use a pencil to sketch in where those lines are finishing at the end of the caricature so that we know where to continue from. So I'm just really checking to make sure that I can see the edges of every section of the caricature. Okay, now the second thing that I would suggest is using your pencil as a measuring tool. So measuring using your thumb and the edge of the pencil to measure how wide each section is. So I know that the eye is going to be that big, and I know on this side it should be around the similar length. So I'm going to keep doing this as I go down to ensure that I've got the same spacing on each side. I'll also do the same with the head, from the hair to there. You can leave your finger there to then mark it. And again, it looks, see how this line up here is actually diagonal, not straight. So I know that it's going to be a little bit wider at the top. And you can see that by my lines here. So I can then join those up because I know that it goes on a diagonal. So I'm going to continue to do this. Now, whilst I'm doing this, I'm also looking at the original version of this image so that I know exactly where I'm up to. Okay? So as you can see here, I've just started really sketching in those lines, and I've made lots of mistakes so that I know where my lines are that I'm happy with. So you're really encouraged to make lots of mistakes and just really sketch it in so that you know, okay, that line doesn't work and that isn't the same. So then you can make sure that it is. So here I've done the mouth about 5-6 times because I knew that that was too wide, and I've brought it in a little bit here on this final line up through here. And you can see that the darker the lines get is the more confident I'm getting, but I have really tried to sketch really nice and light so that I can make sure that I have got in all of those important sections that I needed to. Okay, now the next step is I'm going to go over all of my lines that I'm confident with in a marker. So you can see here now I've got all of my lines mapped out with a black marker. The next step is to just rub back all those grey lead lines there that you can see and get rid of all of those, and then I'm going to show you some tonal rendering skills to try and match the caricature so that it doesn't look like a photocopy. See how we go. Okay, so I've rubbed all of that out now, so that's all ready to go. So the first step would be to get a range of coloured pencils. It's really important that you have a lot of different colours and a lot of different shades of the same colour. So I've tried to get a range of sort of browny tan colours, including a black for a dark. I've got a medium dark brown, and I've got a lighter brown and a tan. So hopefully you can see those quite clearly there on the camera. But I've also got a range of reds and oranges as well, because I know that sometimes skin tones could be a mix of multiple colours. And of course with the hair, most people have a few different colours through their hair as highlights, generally just from the sun naturally. So I'm going to start with trying to have a look at where the light is hitting his face here. Okay, and I'm just going to really lightly just try and colour in and see if that's the right match. That's looking quite good. Now I know his nose is quite light on the bridge because you can see these little highlights through here, and on the original there's quite a few little highlights which are almost white. So I'm going to just pop a little bit of white through there, and then I'm going to start by going around those. If you don't want to use white, you can just leave the paper white, but you will need to go around them, otherwise you'll accidentally colour those in. So you can see I'm starting quite light and I'll get darker as I go. It's almost the exact same colour there, which is great. Now I can see there's a bit of reds and oranges through parts of his skin here, so I'm going to just add a little bit of orange through as well. And of course a brownish, light brown colour. You may like to try out your colours before you start on just a scrap piece of paper, just to test them all out and see what colours they turn out. That could be a good way to help you indicate whether that's going to be the right colour tone for your portrait that you've done. Now this can be applied to any kind of drawing that you're doing, and I'm just literally hatching. So we've looked at hatching, which is just straight lines like this. You can also cross hatch your lines, which can also give it a little bit more texture and a little bit more detail, especially around sort of dark sections around like the nose. The chin might be really good for that type of shading, and in these corners here might really be good for cross hatching, but the rest I'll probably be looking at hatching. But see how you go, because there's a few other techniques you can use with your shading as well. Okay, so I've come to the end of my caricature and I've managed to complete all of the rendering with the coloured pencils. As you can see, I've tried to use my pencil in the same lines that are already of the contour of the face. You can see that this part here is quite rounded, so I've tried to make sure that my lines are rounded through this section. Same with the nose, the lines through the eyes as well. Another good tip is generally when you've got a line on the face for the creases that are in the face, they're generally going to be darker because it's a shadow around the face, and you can see that in the original version as well. Here you can see that there's quite a lot of darker sections through the edges there. I hope you have a great time trying this out yourself, and make sure that you keep practicing, because the more you practice the better you get. Best of luck. Thanks guys. Bye.